Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 26th of March, and we've got every kind of technical problem you could imagine. One of our streams isn't loading, and the microphones at work didn't charge last night. So we made it, however, and we are here, and we have a themed show today. I was bored last night, so I thought I would play a little game. I dropped the information into Telegram and nobody replied. So we're going to go through it on the stream. Let's see how many you can guess in today's show. Also the chat isn't loading either. Chat in the bottom left-hand corner, that's decided to die as well. So we've not had a good stream so far. Today, we're going to talk about the police. We are going to talk about the Grateful Dead. We're going to talk about Black Sabbath, Atomic Kitten, Pretenders, ABBA, Roxy Music, and of course, the title of the show today is I Am Bullish, You Too. That's it. That's all you're getting from me today. The question is, can anybody in chat tell me what any of the projects or the articles are about? We've probably got about 5 or 10 minutes before we get to the articles. So those of you that are asleep out there, wake up and let's have a bit of fun today, because like I said, this was supposed to be enjoyable. The chat's not working, one of my live streams isn't working, the microphones have nearly died, and this is the first of 2 streams today. This afternoon, we will be looking at a project. We're going to do a project review at 1 p.m. So 2 hours from now will be a project review. It's called the Cardai chain. That's what we're going to be talking about on the stream. And yes, we appear to also be lagging. So everything that could have gone wrong today appears to be going wrong. But let's have a look at the charts. Again, it's a little bit of a deja vu day today. There isn't really a lot of movement. Market cap hasn't really changed, still under 3 trillion. Volume still 75 billion. Again, nothing's moving there. Bitcoin dominance, ETH dominance haven't really changed either. I could have just recorded and played yesterday's stream, and I think we would have the same charts. Bitcoin coming in at 88, Ethereum still below 2100, XRP still below $2.50. I am sure Cardano is still below 80 cents. Nothing's really changed. Look at Solana, still at 144. This is as much of a crab as you could imagine. Now, remember what we said on Monday, 88.5. Remember what we said on Tuesday, 88.5. You know what I'm going to say today? 88.5. We haven't broken it yet. Maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day. We are tapping on the door, and maybe we will break up. Maybe we will not. Who knows? Right, very quickly then, let's have a look at the gainers and the losers before we move on to some X-Files. Move is clearly on the way up. Shiba is on the way up. Pepe is on the way up. The coin that I will never mention is on the way up. The reason that is on the move is some of the exchanges have started to list it. It's been listed on a couple of exchanges. Doge is up 10 whole %. Big move for Doge. I don't believe Paul is moving. I do not believe that it is up 10%. I cannot believe that. This is my PTSD coin. This is the coin that promised me so much and delivered so little. I saw the picture of the beautiful pepperoni pizza on the internet and I ordered it, and cheese and toast turned up. That's what Paul has done to me. Not a fan. IMX is up again. Another blast from the past. Bonk is up. Jito is up. Floki. Lots of decent gainers in the last 24 hours. And I don't believe there's an awful lot of losers. 4 and Pi. Again, Pi should not have a value of 5 billion, 4 billion, 3 billion, or 2 billion. It's a sub $1 billion project until they do something different. Aave, BNB are down a touch. Not really many losers. It's been a good day. A good day. A good few days, actually. We should really say that. Now, we're going to start the show off. This is what you should be doing in the mirror every morning when you wake up. A little bit of self-love. This is what you need to do. When, of course, it loads. Oh, no, this is something totally different. I've saved a different one. Right, this is your favourite shillfluencer telling you to buy a coin, and there we go. It's gone, and so's your money. Don't believe anything anybody tells you on the internet. Don't believe anything anybody tells you about a pre-sale, a token that hasn't launched, the next 1000S, because that's what they do with your money. They literally, the second you let go, they've gone. And so is your money. Okay? So just be careful out there. A weekly reminder that shillfluencers shill. They try and sell you the tokens that they don't want. Now, before we load the next one, I suppose you should say good morning to everybody in chat. Good morning, Mags. Good morning, Danny. Good morning, Kishan. Good morning, Velvet. Good morning, KB. Danny, Kishan. Right, let's have the guesses. Who has guessed? Black Sabbath, Crypto Bats. Good guess, but no. The clue's in the name. That's all I'm going to say. So, think about who the police are. Who is the police in crypto? Think about who Atomic Kitten could be related to, or the pretenders. Who are the pretenders in crypto? Have a think about that. Right then, Ripple has agreed to drop its appeal against the SEC, and they have paid $50 million. Now, a year ago maybe, they sold off $120 million worth of XRP. That suppressed the price at the time. The price went into a downward move for about a month. And they then only ended up paying $50 million. But that's not the important thing. And I don't know if she mentions it in here. I think she does. The cost to Ripple has been somewhere in the region of $150 to $200 million they have spent on this case. Only for it to be dropped. Only for them to agree that it's not a security. This is the problem with the SEC pre-Trump. Where did that money come from? Where did the $150 to $250 million that they've paid in total come from? It came from you, because you were the ones buying XRP. So you're the ones that have suffered. And the SEC have done nothing other than line the pockets of the lawyers. And that is shameful. They have gone after the wrong people time and time again. Mags feels the same about Paul. I do. The thing is, it's gonna the recovery is either going to be glorious or it's not. I know lots of people talk about this, and I talk about this a lot on the channel. Okay, you look at projects based on what they can actually do. What's the utility? How much money do they make? And what's the profit? That should be the first thing you look at. Polygon ticks those three boxes. Now, last time I checked, which was probably a year and a half ago, their burn was astronomical. And then they let a load of people go, which probably didn't need. And now I imagine the burn is a lot less. But it makes money as a chain. The ag layer makes money as a chain. It's behind Chainlink in terms of being rolled out. Chainlink is miles and miles ahead. But Pol is a solid project. Just because it's like Man United. This one's for Packer out there. It's like Man United. Player for player, 8 of those players are top 14 players. And then they have some absolute donkeys, okay? The goalkeeper can't keep the ball out of the net. 2 or 3 other things. Polygon is like Man United. It's an absolutely solid, massive project that has a few flaws. But those flaws do not make it a relegation team. It doesn't make it a token that's going to go to zero. The meme coins that have come out this year, the Melanias, the Trumps that we talk about all the time, they've got nothing behind them. They've got no utility. So for me, Polygon is undervalued, but I can't keep telling people it's undervalued if it stays undervalued for 4 years. You know, maybe in 2028, when they finally get everything connected that they want to connect, maybe then it will go to $4 or $5. But I can't. I mean, I've not sold it. I've held it for 2 years. I'm down whatever 60% on that token. But that's my PTSD kitty. Now then, Fidelity Solana ETF has officially been applied for. There's loads of news coming out about not just ETFs now, but also about stablecoins. And everybody is going to apply for stablecoins. Okay? It's like Oprah Winfrey. You get a stablecoin, I get a stablecoin. We all get stablecoins. That's where we are at the minute. And I'm going to ask this question. It's the first time I'm going to say it on chat. When are there going to be too many stablecoins? That's the question. When are stablecoins going to be too diluted? Should we not have some kind of rule where we only have a few? Now then, Michael Saylor has confirmed he's going to burn the keys to over 17,000 Bitcoin worth 1.5 billion when he passes. That is his prerogative. It's his Bitcoin. If that's what he wants to do, by all means, he can do it. I'm not saying it's the right or the wrong thing to do, but personally, $1.5 billion, that's at today's valuation. I mean, we go to $200,000 or $300,000, and that's going to be a $5 billion burn, which is terrible. GameStop, again, GameStop is you can call it a meme stock. You've got a meme token, you've got a meme stock. They had a massive run up. You all remember the Reddit group, the Wall Street Bets group. They ran this project, this stock up beyond where it should ever have gone. They liquidated loads and loads of hedge funds. The markets went against them. Even Robinhood froze the transactions because they were backed by some of the same backers. And what Wall Street Bets did was basically take away the curtain to show you that these people are all in it together, and they're all in it to get you. If you go against them as a collective, as Wall Street Bets did, and you start to bring them down one by one, they'll change the rules. Okay, it's like playing with a game of football with somebody in the street. The kid with the ball sets the rules. Well, these guys in suits, they set the rules, and you can do one or two things. You can do what they've done, push them back, and make them change the rules, or you can just go with the flow. And in crypto, believe you me, you're not going to win against XRP. Go with the flow. XRP is going to win. It's simple as that. They're sitting next to Trump. They're making stable coins. It's all over. You just need to back the right horse. Now, because they were backed by Wall Street Bets, they made an absolute killing. And now they have got nearly $5 billion in cash, of which they are going to invest 1, 2, 3 billion of that in Bitcoin. And the share price this morning, which I haven't got on me because it just came out before we went live, the share price this morning I think is up 20%. And we're going through that part of the phase where if you put the word AI or the word Bitcoin into your company name, into your ticker. Sorry, somebody's drilling. If you put any of those things into your project, you're going to see massive, massive gains. And that is just how it is at this moment in time. Toulouse becomes the first city in France to accept Bitcoin for subway payments, going mainstream. Again, it's a drop in the ocean. I just thought I'd include that because it's Toulouse. And it's in France, and we don't think we've mentioned anything in France to do with crypto. So again, remember what we say. It's nowhere, then it's everywhere all at once. You're going to wake up one morning and walk through your town centre, and then suddenly you're going to start to see Bitcoin symbols everywhere. And that's going to be when you know wherever you are is in crypto. Okay, it's not going to happen everywhere. It's not everywhere all at once, but within 6 to 12 months, it will be everywhere. And that's the key, especially Visa and MasterCard, remember. Visa and MasterCard will start to accept on-chain payments before you know it. And then every single outlet in every single major city in the world is going to be sent new livery, new stickers for their windows, and it will have the Visa, maybe the MasterCard logo, maybe American Express, and then you're going to see that big orange B. It's going to be everywhere, okay? 6 trillion asset class manager. Fidelity is to launch a crypto stablecoin. Again, I'm not on board with this. I am not on board with that. I know why it's being allowed to happen, and I've told you 3 or 4 times already, and I don't want to be a stuck record on this, but stablecoins make money, and they make money by holding American treasuries. Donald Trump wants as many stablecoins and as much money in the treasuries as possible to basically prop the system up. And allowing Fidelity, so if Fidelity gets a stablecoin, BlackRock are going to get a stablecoin. You know, Ripple have got a stablecoin, PayPal have got a stablecoin, Visa, MasterCard. At which point do they all? Where's the end game? Can I get a stablecoin? Can we have Can we have a FITS USD coin? Can I go out and just say, right, guys, I've got $100 in my back pocket and I'm going to release a stable coin with a market cap of $100. Feel free to buy it, but it's never going to change from $1. It's just utter nonsense. I'm not saying we should have CBDCs. I'm not saying the American government should have one stranglehold over stable coins. But allowing every Tom, Dick and Harry to have a stable coin, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And then finally this one, which I'll have to hide some of this at the top so you don't see too much. If I scroll this down, there we go, can't see it now. Crypto has already won. Now, this is a little bit of self-reflection here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, how many of you knew what any of these terms meant? CME, debasement, fiat, SEC. Okay, now the only one on there that's ever been mentioned in popular culture was Eminem sang a song, and one of the lines was, "The SEC won't let me be." And that's the only time you're ever going to hear me say anything from Eminem ever again on the channel. But this is, I think, really, really important to understand. Is you might think that you're failing at crypto. You might think you don't know enough about it, or there's so many things, how can you possibly keep up? If you sit down and seriously go through this, I'm not expecting most of you to know every single one of these sayings, but we talk about the DXY on here, which is the American dollar valuation against other currencies. We've talked about the CME gaps on here, the BMSB, the bull market support band, the moving price of Bitcoin. Well, stocks and shares have bull market support bands. We've talked about debasement of currency. We've talked about, obviously we talked about the SEC all the time. But this is, I think, the reason. They don't want you to understand Bitcoin, not because of Bitcoin, because what you understand about the game. You will hear people say, we do not want crypto because it is a threat to the stability of the euro. Now, how is a $1.7 trillion asset a threat to the European Union? I don't think it is. It's not going to replace the euro in terms of transactions. I think it's because if you understand about Bitcoin and crypto, you have to have some level of understanding about the way that the world works, the way that money is printed, okay? The way that they call it quantitative easing. Quantitative easing means what? Printing money. What does printing money do? It makes your money worth less. Worthless, worth less. Very, very similar. So just be very careful when you talk to other people, and if you're feeling down on a few days, just remember how much you've learnt along the way. And in your future life, maybe after crypto, maybe you've moved on from crypto, whatever it might be, just remember how much you've learnt just by being in crypto. And that's what so many people who are not in crypto don't understand, is you have to understand how money works. You have to understand interest rates, inflation. You have to understand all that. It's like one great big massive social experiment in economics, okay? And I think it's been a net positive. Yes, we've had meme coins, but it's been a net positive. Right then, so this is the first title that nobody in the chat guessed. It's the police, which of course is the SEC. How did none of you get that? Hester Peirce, on risks crypto could pose to the stock market. This is, again, it's not really. Let's rephrase this. This is more about how they lose control, okay? They want to control the money supply, the stocks, the shares and everything. That's what they want. They want control. Now, it's not always a bad thing. You do need control. Could you imagine a world where we had no control over something? Yes, Bitcoin has worked, but how do you set interest rates? How do you set mortgage rates? How do you set savings accounts if you've got no control over the system? Why did the UK do so much better than Europe? Because it controlled its currency and it controlled its interest rates. Why did all the European countries in the south of Europe have such a bad time? Because they couldn't control their currency and they couldn't control interest rates. You weaken your currency in times of struggle and you strengthen it when you go strong. That's what happens. You can see it with the dollar, you can see it with the yuan, you can see it with the British pound. So it's about control. And again, control can be misconstrued as a conspiracy theory. They want to control everything in your life. No, they want to control the money supply and they want to control how the money flows. So they've weighed in on meme coins, protections, how the SEC plans to safeguard crypto markets. Again, I have seen Hester Peirce. This lovely lady here is called the mother of crypto, and she's Hester Peirce, and not everybody that works for the SEC is bad. She has been calling for positive crypto regulation for the last 3 years, even with Gary Gensler in charge. She is our friend. As much as you can have a friend, she is our friend. Now, it's her job to not go too far to the right and just allow everything to happen. We do need somebody in the middle ground. I think it's good for a regulator to understand its jurisdiction and not to try act outside, she said in an interview. There are a lot of bad things that happen outside of the SEC's jurisdiction. A lot of them really give me concern and I worry about them. But that doesn't mean it's my responsibility to fix them. Whereas Gary Gensler, 12 months ago, believed it was his responsibility to fix everything in the world. America is not the world, and we've said this before. She talked about meme coins, NFTs. She said, if you lose money on meme coins, it's not our responsibility. I think that's a very sensible approach, a very common sense approach. But like gambling, you still need safeguards because you don't want people with habits to go out and basically gamble away their month's wage. There has to be rules in place. And I think that's where she's coming from. You can't just say anytime there's some kind of thing where you could lose money, the SEC gets to jump in. Our jurisdiction is going to have no bounds at all. And she is absolutely right. There she is, the lovely Hester Peirce. And she's right. She's got a more common sense approach. And I, for one, think we need to have a little bit more common sense in the world to make it a better place. So, number one, Hester Peirce is the police. Number two, I like this game. It adds a little bit of joy to my life in the mornings when I'm tired of drinking coffee. And the Grateful Dead is, of course, Mt. Gox. Why? Because Mt. Gox died 2014, 2016, and you are the Grateful Dead because you have been resurrected. They are moving another $1 billion in Bitcoin, but the payments are not going out, says Glassnode. Despite moving roughly $1 billion worth of Bitcoin 3 times in March, there's no evidence the payments are resuming. Remember, they paid out in January, was it? Mt. Gox deposited nearly 900 Bitcoin into a hot wallet and 10,600 into a new change wallet in the past 24 hours. This follows 2 similar transfers on March the 11th when the exchange's administration sent pretty much 1,200 Bitcoin to different hot and cold wallets. This is just moving them around, I imagine, to protect themselves. We don't need to see the price of Bitcoin. It raises the possibility that this 900 may end up at a trading platform, as was the case with March 6th. 2 bigger transfers of the 11,800 and 12,000 have simply moved from one exchange wallet to another. The recent Mt. Gox-linked Bitcoin movements appear to be part of the ongoing creditor repayment process, which has been unfolding over several months. It adds that while the latest transactions may indicate preparations for distribution, there's no evidence it's actually happened. So, when we talk about these black swans in crypto, you know, what is a specific black swan in crypto? The Mt. Gox repayment was a black swan. Germany selling off its, was it 60,000, 80,000 Bitcoin? That was a black swan event specific to crypto. Now, the good news is Mt. Gox has, you know, a lot of the distributions have been made in Bitcoin and it didn't really hurt the market. And the problem is, it's like going to a dentist. you're more scared of the act of going to the dentist than actually sitting down with the dentist. It's the anticipation, the fear anticipation. Mt. Gox hasn't caused the market to absolutely dump. And again, we've had so many of these crypto black swans or potential black swans that never came to pass. The macro environment is totally different. But, what's a real black swan in crypto? Luna. The Luna crash was a real black swan. FTX crash was a real black swan. These types of events that happen, Mt. Gox are going to start redistributing to people, and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. It's all scaremongering. It's all FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And we don't need to worry about it too much. The majority of people that have held Bitcoin since those days, they are still going to hold Bitcoin. They're not just suddenly going to go, oh, we're one of the OGs. What we're going to do is we're just going to go and sell all of our Bitcoin the second we get it, even though we've had it since 2014. So don't worry too much about stuff like that. Don't worry at all. Now then, that was the Grateful Dead. And this is Black Sabbath. The clue was in the name. Solana rises as BlackRock brings 1.7 billion tokenized treasury fund to Ethereum's rival chain. Now, this is, again, we talk about how everything moves a lot slower in TradFi. BlackRock are going to go everywhere. Okay, let's not just think it's going to be Solana and Ethereum. They're going to go to XRP. They're going to go to Cardano. Okay, probably Avalanche will have them. Maybe in some distant future, it will go to Sui. It will go to Sonic. It will go to Say. It will just go all over the place. Okay, but it's picking the lowest hanging fruit. Where's the lowest hanging fruit? Ethereum. What's the second lowest hanging fruit? Solana. What's next after that? Well, you just go down the top 10 cryptocurrencies because that's what some guy in a suit is doing. They're going to want this everywhere. Why? Because they want the whole pie. This is what we say about BlackRock. They wanted a Bitcoin ETF, they got a Bitcoin ETF. They wanted an Ethereum ETF, they got an Ethereum ETF. Guess what? They want a Solana, XRP, and Cardano ETF. They're going to get them. And then what's going to happen is they're going to move these funds onto those chains. It's as clear as day what they're going to do. In fact, I told you this was going to happen to Solana months ago because it's so obvious. It's so obvious. As night follows day. Solana is green because BlackRock is moving its blockchain-based money market onto them. Fortune reports the world's largest asset manager is adding 1.7 billion USD institutional digital liquidity fund to the Solana blockchain. It's trading at 145. It had a good bounce. We were only talking last week about buying it between 100 and 110 if we started to go down. Maybe it wasn't last week, maybe it was the week before. So, build is the one thing I told everybody about. I even made phone calls to people and said, you need to be in this. You need to have some exposure to this because you can't bet against the house. And the house is BlackRock at this moment in time. So the partner Securitize says the fund is expected to exceed 2 billion in cash by April. Michael Sonnenschein, who we follow a lot on this channel, we're making money market funds unboring. We are advancing and leapfrogging some of these quote unquote deficiencies that money markets may have in their traditional formats. One of the benefits Build offers over traditional market funds is 24/7 trading. Lily Lou, what a beautiful name. Our vision for why on-chain finance adds more value is because you can do more things with those assets on-chain than you could if they were sitting in your brokerage account. I have given you this example 20 times. I'm going to give it you again. It's Friday afternoon. It's 4 p.m. You all want to go off to your boat and go fishing for the weekend. You might want to go and stay with Trump in Mar-a-Lago, and you move your on-chain treasury into USD, USDY. You leave it there. You come back in Monday afternoon because you had a long day. Come back in Monday afternoon. You go to your desk. You unlock the amount of money you need for the week, and away you go. And all the time, that money is sitting in USDY or USDE or whichever other yield-bearing stablecoin you want to talk about. That's just making them money. Now, for you or me that might have $100, it's only going to make us $4 a year. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars. Even if they had $100 million, it's making them $4 million a year. You work that out, what's that, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, it's 100,000 a day, isn't it? So that's the difference. So when they talk about inefficiencies or deficiencies, I like to use the word friction. It's removing the friction in the market. And moving to Solana, which has you guys on it, which has retail on it, can only mean what? It can mean they're going after you. They're going to give you products that you can pick up and put down. And they don't care because it's now frictionless. There's no onboarding. They don't need to care about KYC or AML. Maybe when you get to the next level, which is maybe $1,000 or $10,000, and you've got to fill out the KYC and AML, it's all going to be AI automated. So they've completely removed the cost base from what they offer. And look at what BlackRock is literally, Larry Fink is telling you. They are going to tokenize every financial asset because the money that you guys have individually is peanuts compared to what they've got. But as a collective, you might be worth $1 trillion to BlackRock. You might be worth 100 billion to BlackRock. Well, if they're making 1 or 2% a year out of you, that's another $1 billion, $2 billion to their bottom line. So that is why BlackRock in today's show is Black Sabbath. Okay? Now, this one is the best title of the show. ADA, NEAR, and Atom have been added to their crypto offerings. You could say they've got an atomic kitty. Atomic kitten. I give up. That was a good one. That was a really good one. I thought that was good. Games of government, indeed. Anyway, let's move on before we run out of time. We are at 11:32. We have 4 things to get through. Okay, we're going to run out of time. So Nubank has seen a quarterly revenue increase of a lot in less than 4 years as its customer base has grown. Now, Berkshire is Berkshire Hathaway. Who owns Berkshire Hathaway? Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, much as he doesn't like crypto, I don't think he doesn't like crypto. I think it's been misinterpreted. I don't think he likes Bitcoin. And the reason he doesn't like Bitcoin is people tell him that Bitcoin is digital gold. And if you've ever listened to Warren Buffett, he doesn't like gold because he's a value investor. Farms, companies that make things, companies that offer services, okay? So money goes in, service or product is created, and more money comes out. He is a value investor, a value chain investor. You can listen to him. You don't have to listen to him for very long. The way he works is very, very simple. So I don't think he's anti-crypto. I think he's against Bitcoin. And was it Charlie Munger, the chap that died recently, was his assistant? He absolutely detested crypto as an entire asset class. And again, people can make wrong calls. I get that. Not everybody's right. I'm going to be wrong. Warren Buffett is going to be wrong. Everybody's going to be wrong about something. But I think putting every cryptocurrency under one umbrella and saying it's junk, it shows a sign of lack of education about the topic. You cannot compare, for example, Bonk with Ondo. You cannot compare, for example, Solana with AIXBT. They're just different projects doing totally different things. NEAR being partnered with NVIDIA, in theory, the value of NEAR should have absolutely nothing to do with, for example, let me think of another coin, another industry, Gala token, which is making Web3 games and Web2 games into Web3 games. They shouldn't be correlated. They are at the minute because of the industry. So I don't think, I've gone off on a tangent on that one. I don't think Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway really are anti-crypto. I think when they see the value proposition in crypto and what it can add, I think they're going to be all over it. So this Latin American financial bank, backed by Berkshire Hathaway, it's expanded its offerings. It's added Cardano, NIR, Cosmos, and Algorand to its 100 million clients in Brazil, according to this announcement. The four coins have a market cap of 34.6 billion. The revenue grew to nearly 3 billion at the end of 2024. That's massive. Now, what I will say about this is, if you're looking for the time when retail come back to crypto, they're going to come back to crypto through apps, and not necessarily apps which are in crypto. Good morning, Rigoberto. I don't think when people come back to crypto, we need to be looking at certain exchanges. We need to be looking at the app that people have in their hands, whether it be Robinhood or whatever. And adding these tokens in Brazil for 100 million clients means what? It means that when crypto takes off and they all want to go and put $100 into crypto and they go and buy Bitcoin, they're going to scroll down that list. And what are they going to know about? Well, if the Nvidia and NIR news comes out, they'll go and buy NIR. If Cardano and ADA in some way are being involved in governments in America, maybe even in Brazil, they'll go and buy that token. Algorand has a good chance of being involved with the American government as well. So just having them on the platform gives them the opportunity of the liquidity that will come at the time it comes. So this is in preparation for hopefully somewhat of a bull run at some point towards the end of this year. And just having them on there is important. And also 100 million clients, if on average they all put $1 or $2 into those four tokens, that's 200 million added. Again, it's good for Nubank because they're taking the spread fees. It's good for the clients because they get access to really solid projects. NIR and Cardano and Algorand, I hold 3 of those 4. So it's good that they have been added. So anyway, that is Atomic Kitty. You might not know who they are, and you will not thank me if you go and look them up. Let's leave it as that. Now then, this one, this is the Pretenders. Okay. Again, you might not know who any of these bands are. I do apologize. The altcoins are clearly the Pretenders. They are the pretenders to Bitcoin's throne. Are you waiting for alt season? Data suggests it's already here. Now, before you panic and look at your bag of alts and then start to cry because they've not moved, I don't necessarily agree with Marie. I don't agree with her. And the very simple reason I don't agree with her is we don't have quantitative easing and Bitcoin dominance isn't breaking down. It's not the time in the cycle for us to have alt season. I could go on, okay? It's just not alt season yet. We can have alt season mini pumps, of course we can. You know, that we've had that at the end of last year. It doesn't mean they're not going to go up. It just means that they might go further down before they have the blow off top. Again, you go and look at any chart from a coin that's maybe, say, 4 years old. You go back to 2021. You go back to any of those coins, and the majority of them are above where they were this time 4 years ago. But their all-time high happened over a 2-month period, and then they came back down again. So when we talk about having, let's say, Litecoin, we talk about Litecoin getting to $250, $300. That's only going to be for a short period of time. So I don't think we've got alt season, but I'm open to being absolutely wrong on these things. Every time Bitcoin dominance drops, analysts say alt season is coming, but data suggests alt season came and went. No, it didn't. A few things in crypto are as elusive and misunderstood as the concept of an alt season. This term refers to a brief window, 2 to 3 months. She's right. It's actually about 9 weeks. I think I've measured it, start to finish, and it's roughly 9 weeks. Following a Bitcoin price rally where altcoins outperformed Bitcoin in cumulative returns, 2015 to 2018, 2019 to 2021 cycles, but the verdict is not here. The Blockchain Center defines an alt season as a period where 75% of the top 50 altcoins outperform Bitcoin over a rolling 90-day time frame. Alt season index registered upticks in March 2024 and in January 2025, but neither lasted long enough to qualify as fully fledged alt seasons because they are mini pumps. Nothing goes up or down in a straight line. Again, one thing you need to bear in mind when you look at coins, like you might wake up tomorrow and there might be some massive AI news. Maybe NEAR and Nvidia sign a partnership. Now, it won't just be NEAR that pumps. It will be NEAR and FET and Render and some of the other coins that we've talked about, Virtuals, all those other kind of bot coins. Anything with AI in the title will pump off that news. The same way, if the Solana XRP ETFs are giving a go live date, let's say the go live date is the 1st of July, it will pump the market and the market will pump. And maybe for a period of a week or two, it will outperform Bitcoin. But it doesn't mean it's alt season. It just means that Bitcoin dominance can't go up forever. At some point it's got to stop. Otherwise, Bitcoin will be 100% of the entire crypto market. And we can't have that because of stable coins. So at some point it has to stop. And it has to break down. Maybe it doesn't go to 20, 30, 40%. Maybe it only breaks down to 45, 50%. But it has to have a breakdown at some point. So the meme coins, this is the thing we're getting to on here. So some people are saying that the meme coins took all of the liquidity. And then when we saw the Trump, Melania, Libra pump and dumps, that finished alt season. That's the story that I have heard. Now, I don't believe this. The reason we've seen no major alt season across majors is because the speculative capital that would once have poured into the top 200 assets instead decided to jump the gun and flood into on-chain low caps instead. That's the argument. Now, I don't agree with that. I think we had a mania season where everybody was launching coins. Hocta Girl launched a coin. Who else was there that stood out? Hulk Hogan had a coin. So I think it was a mania season generated by Pump.Fun, where the money came in. Everybody bought these altcoins, but it didn't really last very long. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree at all that we have seen an alt season. I don't think we've had an alt season. I think we've had some relief in the markets where the alts have recovered some of their losses. We've seen it the last few days. But I don't believe we can look at this and say, we've had the alt season, it's gone. I don't think it has, because Bitcoin dominance didn't break down. It broke down very, very briefly, and what happened? The alts went up. Bitcoin dominance hasn't broken down, so it's not here yet. I agree that there was a lot of a lot of meme coins that came and did damage to the market and did damage to Solana. But I said this at the time, the damage was more of an optic. Now look at what's happening with BlackRock. BlackRock's coming to Solana. BlackRock does not care. It wants your money, and your money is on Solana, so it's going to go to Solana. If your money was on the BNB chain or on Sui, guess where BlackRock would go? It would go to Sui, it would go to BNB. They don't care. They get fined every year for breaking rules. They don't care about some alt season. They don't care about some meme coins. Don't give a monkeys. So the pretenders are, of course, the alts. And the alt season is not here, has not been here, and isn't going to be here for a while. Okay? You go back and you will see mini pumps along the way of any cycle. And those mini pumps are where alts will go up 25%, 30%, and then they'll come down 25%. You can see it, the little blips that appear on the charts. They're like mini relief rallies, because nothing goes up or down forever, unless it's obviously a lot of these meme coins. I shouldn't really say that. I said nothing goes up forever. Let's take out when we're talking about meme coins, let's not talk about going down forever, because they can go to pretty much absolute zero. So I think we should take these kinds of headlines with a pinch of salt. The same way we should take the headlines that say we're going to $500,000 for Bitcoin in 2025. We should take those headlines with a pinch of salt. But what we should do, and what I say on here is, you should always look into these articles and see what new information you can gain. Now, in this instance, I disagree with the premise, but I agree with how we ended up with the meme season. I agree with that. Now then, one coin I never bought is HBAR. Okay, I did not buy HBAR. And there's a reason I didn't buy HBAR. And the reason I didn't buy HBAR was I was trying to be very, very strict with the number of coins that I held. Now, this is ABBA. Okay. Why is it ABBA? Well, first of all, HBAR, ABBA, HBAR, it's close enough. But also, this is money, money, money. This is the big battle between a behemoth, which is Ripple and XRP, and the pretender, which is HBAR. Which Swift is more likely to choose? I think it's clearly going to go with XRP if it has to go with one. But I do believe that there is more than one way to skin a cat, and I believe that Ripple, HBAR will work together on certain things. From what I remember, when I was looking at stablecoins, Ripple was going to create stablecoins. Sorry, not stablecoins, central bank digital currencies. And I think it was going to partner with HBAR to create the CBDCs. I think. Anyway, either chain's integration to the Swift ecosystem would open the door to the $150 trillion market and instant bank payments. Again, the thing to bear in mind is that Ripple and HBAR, they don't get 150 trillion. That's the volume that they're processing. Well, look, we said Chainlink yesterday processed $20 trillion through its CCIP, through its other transactions. It's not getting that money. It's processing that money, but it's taking a tiny fraction of a transaction off every single bit of that. The same with Ripple, the same with HBAR. They're taking a tiny chunk of that. Now, what Swift are trying to do is stay relevant. So what they will do is they will use Web3 tech to help them to continue to make the amount of money that they want to make, because they want to keep the stranglehold on the market, and integrate Ripple and HBAR so they reduce their cost by using Ripple and HBAR, and also improve their service because they become instant payments. So it benefits Swift, but of course it benefits Ripple and HBAR. Of course it does. So the two giants have both been acknowledged for their unique blockchain tech. Ripple's RippleNet has banking institutions of members. Has banking institutions of members all across the globe, including well-known brands like Santander, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. It sounds like something out of Star Wars, something that Darth Vader would have. The SEB, TransferGo, and others. Cross-border payment settlements. Nearly instantly, Ripple's XRP chain drew the attention of the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. I never knew that. Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. That's what SWIFT stands for. So there you go. I have also learned something new today. The international money transfer conglomerate has been rumoured to test out several blockchains, including XRP and HBAR. And there we have the list. Again, Circle, Tether, they're going to be in all of these because they, of course, are the two big stablecoins. I think between them, they've got about, 85% market share. Again, one of the things about that is I don't think Tether and Circle are going to have that dominance in 5 years' time, because we're going to have PayPal and we're going to have Ripple's own stablecoin in there. So I don't think that dominance will last forever, but it doesn't mean their slice of the pie will shrink. The pie will get immeasurably bigger, but their slice will get smaller. That's the thing. So they may only end up with 20 or 30% of the pie, but that pie will be 20 times bigger. So Swift embraces the blockchain because the merchants expect most cross-border transfers to be settled in less than an hour by 2030. And that's the key, really. How are we at a point in 2025 where You send a bank transfer on a Monday and it doesn't arrive till a Thursday. How are we at that situation? How are we in that? Because everybody along the chain is making money. Everybody along the chain wants to hold on to your money long enough to earn the interest on that money. Everybody along the way takes a small cut. That's why your bank transfers. I've seen people pay $50 for a bank transfer. I've seen people pay 0.1% for a bank transfer. How is that possible in 2025? It's absolute rubbish. Morning, Jason. It's absolute rubbish. So that is ABBA. And as Swift will be saying to its audience at this conference, knowing me, knowing you. And finally, this has been different, let's put it that today. I feel like the gods have worked against me today with these problems that we've had. I think the problem I have got with my microphone is the charging cable. Anyway, Napster has been bought for $207 million. Now, I know a lot of you out there are old, okay? I know a lot of you are old. You've got the same number of grey hairs that I have. I know that. But for the new people, why is this, by the way? Hang on, just give me 1 second. Why is this going off the screen so much? Why is that like that? That shouldn't be like that at all. I'll have to fix that in the next stream. This should be full screen and you're getting cut off. I need to fix that. Napster is snapped up. So it was, from what I remember, it started out as a peer-to-peer music sharing platform. So if somebody brought out a new album, and we're going back a long way. So let's say, who would have brought out? Eminem, back in the day, would have brought out a new album. Somebody would copy it illegally, put it on the internet illegally, and then you would download it illegally. So it was illegal. We'll say that word no more on this in case I get cut off. But they then had some kind of arrangement. They went to court and they became one of the very first music streaming platforms like Spotify is today, and Apple Music and Amazon Prime Music and all these other people. It became one of the first ones. And they started charging people for the music. But it never really took off, because to take hundreds of millions of people that aren't paying for something and then trying to charge them for it, it would die. Okay? And that's pretty much what happened. It kind of just fell away. I've not heard of Napster in at least 2 or 3 years. So it was owned by Algorand, and experimenting with decentralized music, Napster is now part of Infinite Realities and will double down on its bet to build metaverse experiences again. I've left this till last. You'll know, if you've watched me from time to time, why I talk about gaming tokens. Look at that. Mags has used Napster since it came out. That is brilliant. You know, Mags, I'm going to send you a link. The very first internet radio streaming channel I listened to back in 2001, 24 years ago. There was a radio station that would just play music over the internet. I used to listen to it. It had Christmas music, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I couldn't find them for years and I couldn't remember them. And they popped up on Facebook. They've got like 5,000 followers on Facebook. But it's like the OG internet music streamer radio channel. So now I follow them and I listen to them from time to time. And it's like, you know, I'm not sentimental about them, but they've never changed, which is why they've never grown. And Napster, I used Napster, 20 years ago. Whenever it first came out, I used Napster. So the brand that sent the music industry into panic and then faded was acquired. So Infinite Realities buying the streaming service to transform it into a platform where fans can hang out in virtual spaces, attend concerts and buy merch directly from the artists. The startup announced the deal is also the highest price tag yet for Napster, which has... Wow, I actually thought for 1 minute that was one word that I'd never heard of. Circulate demande. What on earth is circulate demande? I was thinking in my head. Circulated among half a dozen companies, including Rovio, to Algorand since its controversial file-sharing days. By acquiring Napster, we're paving a path to a brighter future for artist fans. John Acunto, co-founder and CEO, said in an official statement, "We're creating the ultimate music platform." Now, does anybody remember the social media platform that did exactly this? Does anybody remember that there used to be a platform, the likes of Justin Timberlake started on it? It was before the likes of Instagram. It was before the likes of what else would have been out? I think it might have even been out before Facebook. And it was a place where you'd have your own page, like Facebook. You'd have your own music on there. The music would play in the background. You'd have your own videos. You'd have your own merch. It is exactly what they are trying to do with it. And it was a massive success. And I knew very well the CEO of that company, Michael Jones. He wasn't the CEO at the beginning. He was the CEO as it was on decline. But for the life of me, off the top of my head, without going and rooting, I'm just trying to think of what the name of the company was. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go and get the name of that because I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about. We've got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to go and bring up the... I'm going to go and find the name of it while you're on full screen, so you can look at me and admire. Why don't you count my grey hairs on my head? He's actually got his own Wikipedia page now. Michael Jones has got his own Wikipedia page. That is unbelievable. I knew him since 2001. It was Userplane. Now, MySpace. Does anybody remember MySpace? Or are you all too young to remember? Let me show you MySpace. Here we go. So, it's changed so much in the last... it's absolutely garbage now. But basically, MySpace was a place for signed and unsigned... Am I on full screen? Yeah, okay. It was a place where if you were an unsigned band, you'd put your music up on here. If you were a signed band, you'd put your music up on here. But basically, it was a place for everybody to come, everybody to put their music up. It even had fan pages where if you were a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you can go and talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Tickets and things were put up there, concert dates and stuff like that. Now, MySpace is one of the most criminally abused in terms of business development platforms that there has ever been. It was so badly managed and mismanaged that they ruined the biggest website in the world, and they ruined it in days. They took what was working perfectly fine and scrapped it. Now, when you see these new companies coming along talking about an immersive metaverse, they need to go back to 2006. Go and get MySpace from 2006 and recreate that and simply allow for Web3 payments. So credit cards, yes. Bank transfers, yes. Crypto payments, yes. Allow people to pay to stream music. Plug in Spotify or something and you will have an absolute goldmine. And it would work because unsigned artists will go there. Yes, they'll go onto Spotify, and yes, they go onto SoundCloud, and yes, they go to all of these places. But MySpace worked for a reason, because it was a social media platform around artists, creative people, and Spotify doesn't do that anymore. And these other ones, they don't do it anymore. And it was an absolute travesty that this got wrecked in the way it got wrecked. And at the time it happened, I was like, head in my hands, what have you done? Because that was the end. And then Michael Jones, my friend from when he was at Userplane, he came in and he couldn't save it because he didn't change it back to what it was, which is what he should have done. And again, I've got no beef with him for doing that. It's entirely on his on his shoulders for doing that. But anyway, as if by magic, it is 11:59 and 59 seconds. Oh, wrong one. Right then. So, I am not going to talk any more about the good old days because I'll just end up having a moan about things that should have been, in terms of these platforms that should have existed and should have been bigger than they were, and it's such a shame because it ruins communities, and people are connected on lots of different ways, and being on a music site like MySpace that people still talk about, to see it ruined in the way it was ruined is an absolute travesty. So from that point of view, yeah, what can I say? Tariq, MySpace, good old days, exactly. MySpace it was. So that's it from me, but I am back in 1 hour. I'm back in an hour. I'm going to do a live stream on Gate.io. And what I am going to do, and this is going to be magic, okay? This is going to be absolutely magic. Watch this. This is the technology that I am capable of on this channel. And I know we've got the Oracle, but wait for this. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely amazing? It would be if you could actually read half of it. You can just do that. So, I am going to be talking about this project here. If I go that way, which is Cardia Chain. Okay, I'm going to be talking about that in about an hour's time. Okay, I'm going to do a deep dive on it. I've not done one of these in 2 months, primarily because I haven't been streaming as much as I should have been doing, but that's because I'm trying to, still fix myself, get my eyes and everything back together. So I'm going to do that in an hour. Don't expect anybody to show up, but if you do, come along and have a chat, and we'll talk about Cardia Chain and talk about the project and have a chat. So that will be at 1 o'clock. I'm going to go and set that up now. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Thank you, Mags, Tariq, Kishan, KB. Who else has been here? Rigoberto is here. Shiva, Danny. Jan is here. I didn't see Jan in chat. So thank you all for coming. I will see you all in an hour if you can make it. If not, I will be back tomorrow, as you would expect. And I'm going to tell you about some really cool software that I've got to make shorts with, which isn't interesting to you, but will mean I can make some more snappy content for you. And it just means I can make more content a lot faster. So it's an AI video clipping software. So I'll let you in on how that works tomorrow. But anyway, thank you, everybody. See you all in an hour. Adios.